I'm using my cell phone gadget because my computer is developing some problems. I hope I'll be able to sort it out soon. Um, we're here to respond to your general questions. So if you can post your questions, and I'm struggling to see the comments, but it says here, Comrade Abel Belly says, Sabona Baba Babumabena, what your analysis ngale code been following it from day one? Seems like we might be granted another stay. What's your take? My thinking from what has been happening, and particularly on what the truck drivers legal team was presenting, is that it is possible to get some more time. I'm not sure of the correct term, whether it's an extension or what, but I think more time to attend to the issues or to our matters in South Africa. Because remember, in their presentation, I think it was day one, they were saying, initially they said 18 months from the date of the order being granted, then they revised it to 12 months. So I think from what is currently happening, it's possible to get that. And also, you will remember that the advocate who was presenting yesterday, yet asked the court to adjourn for about 15 minutes because he had said that there were consultation between the legal representatives of the minister, and the reading of that was that there was an attempt to get it settled. This is what exactly was saying, to get a settlement, and a settlement would mean some extension as well. But of course, I will know what the settlement is, but it will speak to ZEP holders extending their stay in South Africa. And Comrade Beginkosi Ndlovu says, what do you think caused the announcement of a settlement in the ZIF case? I have no clue. I have no clue. We hope to get this as the day progresses, or we'll hear soon before the judgment is granted. I have no clue what would have caused that, but it might have been based on the presentations that were done in court. I will just assume, because each legal team had to file a head of arguments. I heard that there were the legal team of the minister was contesting Part B of the ZIF legal team. I do not know what is contained in Part B. They even were pushing for a postponement of the court case if the ZIF were going to deal with the Part B, which the minister's lawyers were saying, in my understanding, they were not really prepared to respond to that. And then there's a question. One comrade asked about the UIF, what happens to UIF. I think we have explained this previously, that you only get a UIF if you resign from your work. And what we're advised, which I'm not 100% sure again, is that ZEP holders, if they were to leave their jobs going back to their country of origin, you need to get your provident fund, which is a lump sum of money. This is why we're talking about ensuring that it is paid in time before the bank accounts are frozen or are closed down due to the expiry of the grace period. And our understanding is that the UIF is paid monthly. And so if from the 1st of July you are no longer in South Africa, you will not be able to be paid monthly UIF. This is what I understood. But I know we have people who work for trade unions here who will be able to assist us. And Comrade Zanele Matabini says, where can we watch a replay of the court proceedings? You simply go to Google, go to YouTube. Go to YouTube, just type ZIM permits code. You will see all the, I think there are now three videos. They should be there so that you can revisit. I'm not sure if it plays back. I didn't play any of them back, so but I think maybe it will. But simply try that. Will assist. And I think Comrade Abel Bailey has already assisted you. Then there is a question which has been raised by my comrades in South Africa, a question that we've been addressing and we continue to address. Says we ourselves, particularly this talk show, we don't encourage people to register and vote. Zimbabweans do participate in the electoral process. If you check from 1980 up to the last election in 2018, Zimbabweans have been participating in the electoral process. It does not necessarily mean that because people are outside the country, they will vote for one political party or one opposition party. People have preferences. But the biggest challenge that we have is that people in the diaspora are not allowed to participate where they are. They need to travel to Zimbabwe to go and vote. And it becomes expensive to many. Particularly at this time in 2023, when it is not clear on what is likely to happen on ZEP payments, and people are spending lots of monies who are currently applying for waivers, and from waivers they'll be applying for payments. So 1,550 rands, it's a lot of money for many. Because we are talking of people of low skill. But we are indeed encouraging those that are able to go and vote to do so, and also encouraging those that are inside Zimbabwe to register and vote. So the argument that we are not encouraging people to vote is not valid at all, because we always do that. And we will see in terms of the percentage of the voter turnout when the elections finally happen in Zimbabwe. And then one comrade was asking whether the application for a waiver is a money-making scheme. We do not think so, because if the government said you apply for a mainstream visa, and in terms of the requirements you do not qualify, there are certain aspects in the requirement that you will ask Department of Home Affairs to waiver. So it is important, therefore, that you do apply for a waiver. We do not think it is a money-making scheme, but it is part of the requirements. And we're to speak to the management of VFS in respect to those that are submitting in Pretoria, because there's a person who contacted me to forward his details to the VFS management. When he went there, he was told that he was not, his documents were not in order, was then asked to pay something like 500 rands or so for him to get back. So I had to complain to the management at VFS. They promised to assist, but instead of responding to me, they responded to the person directly, and they then said the 500 is not a requirement. It is only for those who do not want to stand in the queue, something that I didn't understand, because if your appointment is at 10 and someone's appointment is at 1 p.m. and the one who's at 1 p.m. but it comes at 10 a.m. because they have money, they jump the queue, it becomes unfair. So we will further take this matter with them to understand, because it cannot be correct that those that do not want to stand in the queue, they must pay officials at VFS. Then those that don't have money, even if the appointment is at 9 a.m., they have to stand in the queue until 4 p.m. because there are other people that have money. This is something that we will go back and engage them on. Then Comrade Priscilla Dube says, I heard that the appointment of waivers there is not working. You have, I can't understand. To this 500 rands. I'm not sure, Comrade Priscilla, if you are. Yes, this is the issue, Comrade Priscilla, about the 500 rands that I'm talking about. That someone then says you need, if you do not want to stand in the queue, something that I do not understand, because people are booked in terms of appointment. If they book, say, 100 people at 8 a.m., as an example, so it should be on a first come, first served basis. That principle must apply. It should not be a question of where's money. We always queue in banks, we always queue wherever. So it should not be about money. Then there is Comrade Emilia Chikafa says, hi, I was using a student ZEP permit. My question now is there a way one can just apply for a visa permit without applying for a waiver? Is it a must to apply for a waiver? It is not a must to apply for a waiver, Comrade Emilia Chikafa. You only apply for a waiver if, in terms of the visa that you are applying for, you realize that you do not meet certain requirements, as we have been explaining. If you meet all the requirements, just apply straight, there's no need for a waiver. But if you do not meet certain requirements as provided for, you then have to apply for a waiver. Comrade Joyce Ncube says, as domestic workers, we can apply waiver. Yes, the minister has changed his mind in the last few weeks. Like I said in the previous video, that I've met an Uber driver who has been granted a waiver. Previously, such individuals were not granted waivers. So you need to apply Joyce Ncube for a waiver, even if you are a domestic worker. Remember, your employer, it's an advantage that your employer should write you a motivation letter on why they still think that you should continue working for them. Yeah, I think these are the questions that we got. And then Comrade Brazington, because you'll forgive me. My eyes, as you can see, they are small, and I'm using a phone, so the screen is difficult to read. It says, morning, Babuma Pena, is medical report required when submitting a waiver papers? I've not checked on the requirements that are needed when you submit a waiver. What I know is that you ask them to remove or to suspend certain requirements that will hinder you from applying for a mainstream visa. So in the previous video, we said, if you think it is necessary for them, say, to waiver the requirement for fingerprints, to waiver the requirements for a medical report, if you have a good reason why you think they should waiver that, you need to apply for that. And then Comrade Sin Service says, is there any due date on the application of the waiver? That 31st date was a hoax. It was not for you. So you need to apply today and submit. Comrade Priscilla Dube, you are laughing at me. Yes, my eyes are small. There's a comrade here says, good morning, Mr. Mapena. So does it mean if you get a waiver, you will definitely get a general work permit? No, it does not mean so. Because if it was a given, it will mean you simply submit a waiver and a permit, then they issue you the two. So you still need to apply, because the purpose of applying is for them then to assess whether they are going to grant you a visa or not. Thanks, Comrade Tough Daniel, and thank you so much, many of you. I know that you are preparing to watch the last court day, which we are told is commencing at 10 a.m. Is day 4 of the court in North Gauteng High Court is online. SABC, I've seen the link, but I haven't checked in our groups today the link. I know comrades will be already posting the link. So let's discuss later after we've heard the arguments that will be done in the court today. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Goodbye.